Cars Channel News and Review Car.
Top 10 Cars of the Fast and the Furious series. Love them or hate them, the movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise deliver on what they promise: gratuitous action and lots of cars. The plots may only hold water until you start to think about them, but each film seems to outdo the last in terms of physics-defying stunts and the rarity and quality of the sheet metal on screen. With hundreds of cars featured over the years, it's tough to choose just a handful. Nevertheless, here are our top 10 cars from the first 6 films. 1.1970 Dodge Charger. At the end of the first film, Dominic Taro, Vin Diesel, races Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, in his father's 1970 Dodge Charger, which is said to have 900 horsepower. After just missing being hit by a freight train, the Charger hits a truck and flips through the air. Although it looks like the Dodge muscle car's racing days are over, the car returns for films 4 and 5 to break Taro out of a prison transport bus. 2. Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. At the beginning of 2003's Too Fast Too Furious, Brian O'Connor drives an R34 generation Nissan Skyline GTR. He enters the car in a 4-way street race, where he jumps the twin-turbo, all-wheel drive coupe off a bridge before getting car tasered by the cops. The R34 returns in the 4th installment, though it's unclear if O'Connor installed a Gallo 12 or Gallo 24 engine this time around. 3. Mitsubishi Eclipse. No, the bright green Mitsubishi Eclipse from the first film hasn't aged well. But despite the tacky graphics, over-the-top body kit, and neon underbody lighting, the car has become one of the most iconic of the series. Although it's never made clear exactly which model is featured in the film, a 210 horsepower, turbocharged, 2.0-liter inline-4 and all-wheel drive came standard on the second-gen Eclipse GSX. The danger to manifold warning and drop-away floor pan, however, did not. 4. Acura NSX. The original Acura NSX made appearances in several films in the series, but it was most prominently featured in films 4 and 5. Mia Taro, Jordana Brewster, drives a black late-model NSX-T with parts from the Japanese market NSX-R. The mid-engine sports car's total screen time is brief, but its presence is definitely welcome. 5. Honda S2000. The Honda S2000 probably isn't the first car that comes to mind when you think of drag racing, but in the world of the Fast and the Furious, it's apparently a top choice. Johnny Tran, Rick Yune, drives an S2000 with an estimated $100,000 under the hood at Race Wars, where he wins thanks to a strategically timed nitrous shot. In the second film, Suki, Devon Aoki, jumps a hot pink S2000 off a drawbridge and lands with only minor cosmetic damage. 6. Toyota Supra Mark IV. The Supra was one of the star cars of the first film, rescued by O'Connor from a junkyard and brought back to life in Taro's garage. Despite not being a twin-turbo model, revealed when the hood is opened, the crew is impressed with O'Connor's find. It's at this point that one of the most quotable lines of the movie is uttered, "You know what? This will decimate all, after you put about 15 grand in it or more. If we have to, overnight parts from Japan." On the car's maiden drive, O'Connor and Taro race and beat a Ferrari F355 Spider that they're told is more than they can afford, pal. 7. Mazda RX-7 FD. The FD generation Mazda RX-7 appears several times throughout the series. In the first film, it's the car Taro uses to win O'Connor's ride. In Too Fast Too Furious, an FD RX-7 participates in the opening 4-way street race. Then in the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, Han Sung-kang drives an RX-7 with a custom Veilside wide-body kit, one of the most memorable cars of that film. Not long ago, Motor Trend had the opportunity to drive an RX-7 Spirit R with the FD's sequential twin-turbo engine and near 50-50 weight distribution, we can see why the rotary-powered sports car would be a top choice for the illegal street racing crowd. 8.RB swapped 1967 Ford Mustang. In the final scenes of The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, Sean Boswell, Lucas Black, drives a 1967 Ford Mustang formerly owned by his father. The twist is that this pony needs a new engine, and being that the movie takes place in Japan, the natural choice is the twin-turbo, 2.6-liter RB26 inline 6 out of the Nissan Skyline GTR. Forget for a moment the amount of fabrication such a swap would require, and you can accept that the Nissan engine is the only choice for the Mustang's new beating heart. Whether you call it blasphemy or car pornography, there's no denying that this Mustang is one unique build. At the start of Tokyo Drift, Boswell drives a 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Despite winning a race against a first-gen Dodge Viper, the Monte Carlo loses control and rolls until it's nothing but a twisted pile of metal. That's too bad because the car was quite the looker even with its primered hood and patchwork paint job. The original Monte Carlo was available with a big block 454 cubic inch V8 making 360 horsepower. 9.1969 Chevrolet Yenko Camaro. One of the bad guys in Too Fast Too Furious drives a 69 Yenko Camaro. The muscle car is won by Brian O'Connor after a race for pink slips, and it's used in the second half of the movie to evade cops and jump onto a boat. The car used in the film was a replica, which is good considering genuine Camaros prepared by famed dealership Yenko Chevrolet are some of the most sought-after collector cars in all of autodom. 10.1987 Buick GNX. Dominic Taro inexplicably chooses an ultra-rare 1987 Buick GNX for a tanker truck heist in the fourth film. Based on the Grand National, the GNX was the last of the turbo Buicks and came stock with a turbocharged 3.8-liter V6 rated at 245 horsepower and 355 pounds-to-foot of torque. However, many reports of the day suggest those numbers were underrated. Just over more than 1,000 GNX coupes were made. Although no GNXs were hurt during the making of Fast and Furious, 7 Grand Nationals disguised as GNXs were sacrificed.